Well, we want to congratulate you on your film and tell people what they really don't know, that it is about PR spin and about the media and about free speech, but it's also a thriller. So we're hoping people are going to enjoy it very much. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much, and I hope this film also will get out in the US. And people, if they want to, they can go to our website, bigboysgonebananas.com, and they can register and they can be friends of the film, and then they can also get to know if we get more screenings in this area. That's actually a good thing to do.
Dole Foods is suing a Swedish filmmaker for wanting to show a fraudulent documentary slamming the company.
Wow.
Malmöfilmaren Fredrik Gertten stäms av det amerikanska bananföretaget Dole. Företaget hävdar att filmen Bananas är en bluff.
It's totally crazy that you in the biggest democracy in the world can't even show this film. 6 weeks ago it was okay, now it's not okay because of blah blah blah. What is this?
Well, it's a scare tactic.
The film is based on a sham. That's the point.
But you haven't seen the film.
I've already told you no, Charlotte.
So you're fighting against this incredibly bizarre situation where people are saying the film is wrong and they haven't seen it.
Your film is wrapped up into a much bigger cause for Dole. Their cause is to get rid of billions of dollars worth of litigation that's pending against them because they kept using poisonous chemicals. So this is a cheap investment for them.
I stämningen kräver de att filmen ska läggas ner, hemsidan ska läggas ner och att jag aldrig mer ska uttala mig i frågan.
We feel like the film stands on its own and is very, very defensible. These guys are clearly trying to be as aggressive as they can.
They're attacking you as a filmmaker. They're attacking the film.
You see this? This is the front page of the LA Business Journal. Documentary turns Doe Fold into hero despite evidence that he fabricated facts in court case. And the writer hasn't even seen the film.
We have a media that is corrupted by power. You have corporate ownership from the top, you have corporate advertising coming in from the side. We have a media where money and corporate influence is really the mother's milk.
I think you're being a little bit naive if you think that you can take a pop at a big multinational and expect to walk away without some sort of fight on your hands. So what he's doing here is he's equating your film to a propaganda piece that was trying to essentially justify the massacre of Jews.
Vem är det som har skrivit det? Det är Michael Carter på Dole. Det kostar många timmar att kontakta så många svenska journalister som de har gjort. De har snart kontaktat hela journalistförbundet.
This is serious. This really is accomplishing the objective, shutting down the speech.
They spend millions on their brand every year, and you're going to come in and start attacking their brand. What did you think was going to happen?
I'm a huge fan of our legal system, but I'm going to take a break from that for today.
Hi and welcome. I'm here with Judy Chaikin. She is the director of The Girls in the Band. Welcome, Judy, and congratulations on a warm reception at Filmfest DC.
Well, thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Your film is about jazz and big band musicians, specifically women. In what era?
Well, it starts in the late 1920s, actually, and comes all the way up until the present day. And the women who are working today in the music business.
Now, why did this specific topic appeal to you?
Well, I come from a family of musicians, and I studied music when I was a child, and I in fact played the trumpet in the junior high school band, but I very quickly realized that the boys in the band were not very nice and didn't want girls around, and that it wasn't really a profession that I was that interested in when I knew there were other things that I could do which were more accepting of women. So I forgot about playing the trumpet. And years later, when I became a filmmaker, a friend of mine told me that she had met a woman who was a big band drummer in the early 40s. And the woman was 90 years old. And I said, well, maybe she played in her high school band. And she said, no. She said she was with big bands. Really? And I said, nah, I don't think so. I've never heard of a woman playing a trumpet or drums or anything like that in a big band. And she said, well, why don't you check it out and see? Wouldn't that be interesting if they did? So I checked it out a little bit and discovered there were all these women who had been working musicians in the 40s and the 30s, and their names had been completely left out of the history of jazz music. And that's how it started.
Amazing, amazing. And Judy, you chose to give up music. For those women that chose to make it a profession, tell me about some of the challenges they faced.
Well, first of all, the women who chose to make it their profession, they were women who were born to be musicians. They couldn't do anything else. I mean, that was what they were born to do. I don't mean to say that they were incapable of doing anything else, but it was so indigenous to them as human beings that nothing was going to stop them. So even though they were not accepted in the commercial world, they had to do what they had to do. And so they found each other, and they made groups, and they eventually made big bands. And they found ways to keep working, even though they were never really accepted into the mainstream.
What I find really interesting is not just that they were passionate about the music, but that they had to live in an era where women were really stereotyped. How did it affect their personal lives?
Well, it really was hard on them. Not too many of them had long, successful marriages, if that's what you call a good personal life. Many of them were married and had families and had children, but it was hard to keep marriages together, staying on the road. So it did affect their lives.
Tell me, has it become any easier on women in the industry now?
Well, I think it is generally, because the whole world has changed as far as women are concerned. One of the big problems for the jazz players is that jazz is no longer the big popular music of the day. So it's hard for every jazz musician, so especially hard for women. But overall, on their acceptance level, that's a different story. You see young women like Esperanza Spalding and Hiromi Uehara, a great piano player, and they're really getting recognized for what they do.
Well, and a lot of that has to give thanks to you. Thanks so much for doing this wonderful film, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Judy,
let's
take a moment and let's take a look at the clip from your film, The Girls in the Band.
Okay.
When you put the horn up to your lip or in your mouth, that was it. They would not call you.
The men felt that this was their domain. To them, a woman, if she's going to do anything in the band, should have been a singer. To be an instrumentalist? No. You don't belong in that world.
When I was substituting for a man one time, the leader wanted to keep me, and all the men in the band got together and talked the leader out of it.
Most of them treated us as novelties.
It was unusual, and people thought it was cute.
The white world was completely unaware of us. Not only we were told, but we knew that we were the best. But we couldn't get that point across because we couldn't play the places that we wanted to play.
So this is a woman who worked consistently in a punishing, unforgiving environment.
She would write for Tommy Dorsey, Benny Goodman, or whomever. After she'd written it, pow, she went right back down.
He was one of the great musicians in jazz, and nobody was paying any attention to her.
All I wanted to do was just be one of the guys. That was my fantasy. I did everything that I could possibly think to do to be a good player. And just because of my gender, to hear these dumb comments was so aggravating.
I knew I was going to play my trumpet some way.
The biggest change is the women themselves. We don't walk into the situation concerned about somebody else's baggage about whether we can or we can't. Want to be good anyway, but if you're the girl in the band, you have to be.
We're here with Calypso Rose, the star of tonight's film by the same name. She's the reigning queen of Calypso and one of the most respected women in the music industry today. Welcome to Filmfest DC.
I am happy to be here.
You know, in the film, which I've seen and which I loved, somebody calls you daring. And I think, do you like that?
I don't mind, because in my country, when somebody say you're daring, that means you're bold. Well, I has to be bold, because I will not be put down. I got to be daring. I got to fight to get what I want and to open the doors for other female, because I am not the only female on earth, and I'm not the only female that wants to get into the to the arena, whether it is the culture, calypso, boxing, kicking, fighting, or beating pan. So I am daring, and thank God I am. Because look at so many doors have been opened.
Oh, yes. One of the things that the film goes through is a lot of Calypso history, which was good.
Oh, yes.
And what we came to understand was that it really was a male-dominated music form.
It
yes?
was. It was throughout the years. That's the reason why in the competition it used to be the Calypso King competition. Yeah. So when I start knocking at the doors, and in 1977, September, Trinidad and Tobago became a republic nation. And in a republic nation, there are no kings, no queens, there are monarchs. So the name was changed then to come into the era of 1978, Calypso Monarch, and your humble servant walked in and took it with full force.
Ah, bravo, bravo. Or should I say brava? Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Now, from looking at what's happening in the film, there were so many uplifting, inspiring musical moments. It was great music in the film.
Sure.
But what I wanted to ask is, you've faced many challenges in your life. Has Calypso music helped you get through that?
Of course. What I passed through when I was 18 years of age, being on stage and bringing joy to the people, and I see the joy in their eyes and their hearts, and they're dancing and moving, it make me forget all the bad that had happened to me.
Yes.
Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yes.
In the film, you journeyed to Africa. What was the significance of that for you?
Because my great-grandmother was being kidnapped, bought, sold, brought to a country when she knew that she will never go back, crossed the Atlantic Ocean, perilous seas and time for many days, weeks, and probably months, and landed in Mount Irving Beach, Bethel, Tobago. And I could remember when I was small, one day she stooped down. Every evening she used to stoop down and watch the sea area. And one evening she shook her head. She said, "Ow, me picnic, no man know the burial ground." And I did not know, I never knew what my grandmother was saying until I got big and I started thinking, my grandmother meant, my great-grandmother meant, no one know where they will be buried after they were being born, because she knew the journey was so far, and she did not come. She came by force. So how could she go back to her motherland where she was born? Right. And that always brings pain in my heart.
I know that you've written over really many more than 800 songs.
More, because I did not count my gospels that I wrote. I wrote 2 gospel CDs. Okay. The first one is Jesus Is My Rock, and the other one is just called Jesus. And I just wrote a single last year called I Feel Like Dancing. Ooh, I feel like dancing. Yes, babe. You know what? Tonight I'm going to put it on. Oh, yes. And that is kicking up a storm right now.
Good.
I'm going to give you a copy.
Okay, that sounds good. Couple of more questions. We wanted to know here at Filmfest DC really when you are moving through a film about your own life, when you do a film about your own life, what did you learn about yourself?
I'm a woman with power, and I'm a woman with courage. Courage, power, and will.
Good things to have.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We are grateful for having you with us in Filmfest DC this year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. And
now we're going to see a clip from Calypso Rose.
The lioness of the jungle. Sit by the wayside looking as though you get. I am a powerful woman. I started in 1955 and I'm still here today. So nothing could stop me.